Good afternoon, Joyful Geniuses. Was I starting then? I don't. Start again. Afternoon, Joyful Geniuses. Andrew Horder here, Joyful Genius Coach, founder of Joyful Genius Coaching. I've been helping single person businesses, solo practitioners to find their genius and figure out how to turn that into a business for about a decade now. And that's what I want for you to be thoroughly loving your work. Today, in this Joyful Genius Live, I'm going to be talking about the importance of knowing your ideal customer. And the phrase used for that is the avatar. You know, who is your perfect customer avatar? What's the description of them, etc. But let's just go into why it matters that you know who your perfect customer is. For a lot of us, we're at a point in our business where actually the perfect customer is the one with the checkbook in their hand, the one willing to pay. And that's fine if that's where you're at in your business. I'm not telling you that if they're not your perfect customer, you should reject them and you should refuse to work with them. I am saying make sure you're not accidentally attracting that kind of client. So this is not so much about rejecting the wrong kind of client, although if they're too wrong, you probably would do well to reject them. It's more about making sure that what you do to attract clients is attracting the right ones. And a big part of that is understanding who your perfect customer is, who your perfect client is. It's a bit like, in the dating game, they talk about, are you looking for Mr. or Miss Right, or are you looking for Mr. or Miss Right now? Very similar thing there with customers. Sometimes we do need to be looking for Mr, Miss, Mrs. right now. The people who are willing to pay us right now. But let's project forward to getting the customers who we really want to have, who are actually going to make our working life fun. So, don't fear the niche. Really, do not fear niching down tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. Because the tighter your niche, the more likely it is that your ideal customer is going to read what you're saying, hear what you're saying, see your stuff and go, that's for me. That person understands my issues, so I'm going to go talk to them. And then, of course, it's up to you to persuade them that, or not so much persuade them, invite them to come and work with you because it's the right thing, etc. Now, let's look at how do you go about creating that picture of your perfect customer. Creating a customer avatar. Now, there's plenty of online tools that will help you with this. But essentially, what you want to be doing is getting as clear a picture as you can of 3 aspects of your perfect customer. The first one is the simplest. It's their demographics. So, how old are they? Where do they live? What kind of house do they live in? How many kids have they got? What's their income? Does their spouse earn? Do they even have a spouse? All of that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's the demographic stuff. It's important, but it's not as important as the next 2. The sociographic stuff, now we're starting to get into their attitudes, their beliefs, what kind of media do they read, what telly programs do they watch, do they even watch telly programs, or are they like me and they only ever watch stuff on demand? All of that helps you get a feeling for the kind of language that they'll respond to. If they're a Guardian reader, then they're going to like that slightly more erudite language. If they're Telegraph, they're going to be really quite straightforward. Those are massive oversimplifications, but you get the idea. If you know the kind of publications that they read, the kind of books that they read, you'll be able to speak to them in a way that connects with them and that they can connect with. So that's the sociographics. What do they think about, and what are their attitudes, beliefs, etc. But the really important one to really understand with your customers is their psychographic characteristics. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that really is not so much what they think, but how they think. What are the thought processes that they go through that allow them to make a decision, to identify something as something that would be of use to them, would be useful to them? So what we're looking for here is their fears and their dreams, really. Because nobody ever buys anything other than to either allay a fear or to help them move towards their dreams. That's the only reason anyone buys anything. And people will say to me, "Oh, that's a bit extreme. What about food?" Hey, people buy food to allay the fear of being starving. So it is true in all aspects. They either are trying to move away from something that they fear, or move towards something that they view as a dream or that they desire. So we're looking here for what keeps them awake at night. What makes your perfect customer lie in bed at night or wake up halfway through the night needing a pee, if you're anything like me, and then they can't get back to sleep because this is going round and round in their mind? And it could be something that they absolutely desire in their life and they can't figure out how to get it. Or it could be something that they fear is going to go horribly wrong and they want to put something in place to stop that. So for my perfect customers, those sort of things really are, they lie in bed, go, why on earth am I not enjoying my work? What is it about the customers that I'm attracting? What is it about me and the way I'm showing up in the world that is meaning this isn't fun for me at the moment? Why is it I've lost my mojo? Or they go, I've got this brilliant idea. I absolutely know I can change my industry, and I've just got to work out how. I can't quite work out how. How do I do that? How would I do that? Could I do this? Could I do that? And that excitement of not being able to sleep because you're thinking about something wonderful. Whatever it is, if it's keeping you awake at night, that's the piece that you need to know. Now let's just wind back a bit. How do you find out this stuff? Well, the demographics is relatively simple. You know their address, so you've got a pretty good idea of the demographics. You ask them these questions as you start speaking to them as a client. So demographics, relatively straightforward. Sociographics, pretty straightforward too. You can actually just straightforward ask them. The fears and dreams piece, you've got to do a little bit of mind read on that. You can ask them outright, but here's the thing. What you will be told is probably not the real thing, because they probably don't even know what it is themselves. So you've got to do a little bit of mind reading about what it was. You can get to it having worked with some people. When you've worked with them, ask them what it was that you actually fixed. And that, what they tell you, those ex-clients, that will be very useful in positioning yourself for your future clients. But the big thing to think about here is nobody is ever going to buy your program or your solution. What? No one's ever going to buy my stuff? No, that's not what I said. What I said is nobody is ever going to buy your program. When people watch, for example, my Mojo video, I'll put the link to it down below because it's something you probably ought to watch. But when people watch my Mojo video, they don't come out of that going, wow, I really must have that core process thing, which is what I talk about on the Mojo video. That's not what they're buying. What they're buying is clarity on how they can best show up in the world to make a decent living out of being them, out of their natural genius, right? That's what they buy. That's what they want. That's their desire. The fact that they need to go deep and do some serious thinking about who they are, what they've been doing when they've been at their best, how they can map that out into the rest of their world, everything else like that, the solution, that's not what they bought. They've only paid for whatever it is I do, and They don't need to know the detail of it at that stage. They've only paid for the solution that gives them what they want and desire, not what they need. If I go saying to people, the best way for you to make a great living doing what you love is to spend a couple of months really diving deep into your emotional, psychological, spiritual, energetic makeup, most of them are going to run for the hills, because that's not what they want. What they want is to feel great about their work and feel massively confident that they're going to be able to go out there and attract the right kind of work for themselves and have a great life doing what they love. That's what they want. That's their needs and desires. So no one's ever going to buy your program. They will buy the outcome of your program, and the outcome of your program must satisfy their wants and desires. Now you see why it's important to know what their wants and desires are. Because they've got to believe that what you're going to do is going to give them what they want. The fact that once you've started delivering, they will get what they need, that's a bonus. Now we know that's how you deliver what they want. But you've got to be willing to sell them what they want in order to deliver them what they need. Okay? My coach describes it as you have to earn the right to teach. And actually, a lot of us who are on a bit of a mission, we have to earn the right to preach. I can't preach about how important it is that you really understand yourself to people who just want to get some confidence that they're being them will help them, will allow them to make a great living. I have a tendency to preach, but unless I've earned the right to preach, then all I'm doing is upsetting them, really. Because I'm saying, yeah, I know what you want is this, but what you need to get there is this. And they're going, yeah, but I don't want that. I want this. So be willing to sell them this, and in order to do that, you have to know what this is. Okay? So sell them what they want, and then deliver what they need in order to get there. One of my old friends, the late Dr. Alan Ray, I was at a networking event with him one night, and I was talking about this great new idea I'd had and this thing that everybody needed to do, and how it was going to make business so much better if everybody did this thing. I think it was around stakeholder relationship management, I think. And he just sort of turned around to me and he said, yes, well, of course, I've been lucky in my business life. I've always sold things that people actually need. That people actually want. And that's the important thing. You have to sell to what people want. The phrase used is, meet them where they're at. Yeah? They are at, I want confidence, not, I want a deep understanding of myself. The fact that the deep understanding of myself will give them the confidence, I have to earn the right to tell them that. And I earn the right to tell them that by knowing what their wants and desires are, by knowing how they think, by knowing their fears and dreams, by knowing what keeps them awake at night, and by knowing all the sociographic and demographic stuff as well. So that when I'm talking to them, when I'm putting my stuff out there, they are hearing somebody who is like reading their mind. What you really want is for your perfect customer to read your stuff and go, how the hell do they know that? Are they on Facebook watching everything I say? This is spooky. Wow, I've got to talk to that person. That's where you want to be. And building a solid customer avatar is the best way to get there. One thing I will say is you are allowed more than one. Yeah. You don't have to limit yourself to just one avatar, but only speak to one of them at a time. So each piece of material that you put out, make sure it's talking to that individual, and make sure that those individuals are people you are actually going to love working with. I think that's me done for this week. So really tight on your avatar, niche down as tight as you dare, and then go a bit tighter. Yeah, I had a conversation with a social media expert this week, and she's made me realise, yes, I do need to tighten up on my niche, and I now watch this space, and my avatar fits that niche. I just hadn't realised, so that's good because my avatar's still the same. So tighten up on your niche, understand the demographics, the sociographics, but most importantly of all, the psychographics of your perfect customer, and then understand their wants and desires before you start talking to them about what they need to get there. Until next week, keep up the great work.